As the world becomes more chaotic, one thing is clear: chaos favors the resilient. But what does that actually mean? What makes a person resilient, and how can you become more of it? I'm a former CIA officer and a New York Times best-selling author, and today we're going to talk about cultivating resilience. So when people think about resilience, they often think about rubber bands. You pull them, and then they snap back into their original form. That's kind of like resilience. You get knocked down by a punch, whatever, and then you bounce back. But it's a little bit more complicated than that. And there are different types of resilience. There's a psychological resilience, which means the ability to withstand and recover from mental or emotional strain. So if you have psychological resilience, you're able to go through a really bad breakup, for example, and come out of it stronger and better and smarter on the other end. And then there's a physiological resilience, which is your ability to resist illness or injury. Like maybe you don't get sick as easily, or if you do, you recover faster. Then there's social resilience, which is your ability to build relationships and get support from others during times of crisis. So all of these different kinds of resilience are important for living a healthy, happy life. But today, we're mainly going to be focusing on psychological resilience. Okay, so let's break this down a little bit. How do you become more resilient? Well, here are 7 tips. First, keep a daily gratitude journal. If you do nothing else on this list, do this because this is the most powerful thing that you can do to increase your resilience. Daily gratitude journal is just a fancy way of saying write down every day 3 new things that you're grateful for. It doesn't have to be anything crazy. It could be as simple as the fact that you woke up this morning with a roof over your head, food in your belly, and a smile on your face. The reason why this works so well is because gratitude changes your mindset. It forces you to look at the world through rose-colored glasses, even when things are bad. I remember when I was in Afghanistan in 2009, things were incredibly tough. I was there for 4 months, and the only place I could really unwind and relax was my tiny little room in my house. I had 2 chairs, a table, a bed, and a stove. That was it. But you know what? Every night before I went to sleep, I would write down 3 things that I was grateful for. Maybe I was grateful that I got to watch the sunset over the mountains. Maybe I was grateful that I got to eat some fresh fruit, or maybe I was just grateful to be alive. But by writing down those 3 things every single day, I conditioned my brain to look for the good in a really bad situation. And if you do this for long enough, it eventually becomes second nature. So now, instead of looking at the world through a lens of negativity and cynicism, you'll start to see the world through a lens of optimism and hope. And this is super important because studies show that optimists are more likely to take care of themselves, are more likely to reach out for help, are more likely to stay positive in tough situations, and are more likely to bounce back from adversity. In other words, they're more resilient. Second, set short-term goals. Goals give us something to work towards. They give us a sense of purpose and direction. And research shows that people who have goals are more likely to be successful and resilient. So what are some good short-term goals to set? Well, let me give you an example from my own life. When the pandemic started, I decided to use that time to improve myself. I wanted to read more books, exercise more, and learn new skills. So I set some short-term goals, like reading 1 book per week, working out 3 times per week, and learning how to cook 5 new recipes. By setting these short-term goals, I gave myself something to work towards, and I was able to track my progress and celebrate my wins along the way. And it didn't cost me anything to do this either. All it took was a little bit of planning and discipline, but the benefits have been huge. I've learned so much. I've grown as a person, and I've developed new habits that will help me succeed in the long run. Third, take care of your body. Your body is your temple. It's where you live. It's where you work. It's where you play. And if you don't take care of it, it's not going to take care of you. That's just a fact. We all know that eating well and exercising are important, but it's also important to get enough sleep, manage stress, and avoid harmful substances like drugs and alcohol. These things all have a huge impact on our physical and mental health. And if we don't take care of ourselves, we're more likely to burn out, get sick, or get injured. And none of these things are going to make us more resilient. Fourth, take action. The more that you move, the less that you're stuck. When you take action, you create momentum, and that momentum builds up until eventually you can't stop yourself. You're unstoppable. So what can you take action on? Well, again, it depends on your goals. If your goal is to lose weight, then take action on that. Start by setting realistic goals, like exercising 3 times a week, or eating 1 serving of vegetables with lunch and dinner. Then create a plan and stick to it. If your goal is to learn a new language, then take action on that too. Start by setting realistic goals, like learning 10 new words a day or practicing speaking the language for 15 minutes each day. Then create a plan and stick to it. It doesn't matter what your goals are, just so long as you take action towards them. Fifth, surround yourself with the right people. The people you surround yourself with have a big impact on who you are and how you act. If you want to be more resilient, then surround yourself with people who are resilient themselves. People who are optimistic, who are helpful, who are supportive. Because when things get tough, those are the people who are going to be there for you. Sixth, practice mindfulness. Mindfulness is the practice of being present in the moment and paying attention to your thoughts and feelings without judgment. It's about accepting the things you cannot change and having the courage to change the things you can. Mindfulness is important for building resilience because it helps you to focus on the present moment rather than worrying about the future or dwelling on the past. When you're mindful, you're better able to manage your emotions and reactions, which makes you more resilient in the face of adversity. One way to practice mindfulness is through meditation. Meditation has been shown to reduce stress and anxiety, improve focus, and increase feelings of well-being. Even just 5 minutes of meditation a day can make a difference. So try it out. There are tons of great apps that can guide you through meditations for beginners. Seventh, accept that you can't control everything. This is a tough one, but it's an important lesson to learn. We can't control everything that happens to us. Sometimes bad things happen, and there's nothing we can do about it. The sooner you accept this, the better. Try to focus on the things that are in your control and let go of the things that are UNT. Look, we all face challenges in life, whether it's a personal crisis or a global pandemic. But the truth is, it's not the challenges that define us. It's how we respond to them that defines us. So I encourage you to follow these 7 tips. Become more resilient, not just for the sake of getting through tough times, but for the sake of living a happier, healthier life. Because when you're resilient, you're better able to cope with stress, bounce back from adversity, and take advantage of opportunities. And isn't that what life is all about? Taking advantage of opportunities. I know you can do it. Just believe in yourself. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to this channel to catch new videos every week. And if you'd like to dive deeper into the psychological thriller genre, check out this playlist here. Thanks for watching. God bless you, and I'll see you in the next video.